Hello, everyone. Today I get to speak with Dr. Paula Bates of the University of Louisville, who has invented a medicine that looks promising in addressing COVID-19. Dr. Bates, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
You're welcome.
So you have discovered an aptamer, AS1411, which addresses cancer. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And so what is an aptamer?
So an aptamer is, a lot of people think of it as a chemical antibody. So it works in a very similar way. So it recognizes specifically the shape of something, you know, if it's hand-shaped and it fits like this. But in opposition to regular antibodies, which are proteins, this is made from DNA, and it's actually a synthetic DNA, so it can all be made chemically, which gives it a few advantages. So similar mechanism, but different type of molecule.
Is it one of these processes where you create a gazillion of these things and then you test them out and then you see which ones sort of indicate that they're likely to have the effect you want, you create a gazillion more?
That's usually how it works. So the typical way is to create a library of molecules. So you have millions of these things, gazillions, as you say, and you try to find which one binds to your protein of interest or your target of interest. In my case, it's called an aptamer because of the way it works. It was actually found by accident. So I was using different sequences of DNA, trying to identify those that targeted a specific gene, and I found this by accident. I found that certain types of sequences were able to kill cancer cells without harming normal cells, but not by the mechanism I had originally intended. But nonetheless, it was like, well, this is many years ago now, but I thought this is actually more interesting than what I was trying to do. And so I kind of followed it up, and I worked backwards from having this molecule that was able to kill cancer cells to finding out how did it work. And it turned out that it works by acting as an aptamer to a particular protein, which is called nucleoline, which is found at high levels on the surface of cancer cells, but is rarely expressed on normal cells.
Did it take some open-mindedness to stop what you were doing and transfer to like the thing that was actually happening? Was there any impetus inside you to say, I shouldn't worry about this thing because I'm focused on this goal that I've got?
Yeah, I think a lot of people might have thought like that. I think my brain perhaps works a little differently than most people's, and I was much more curious to follow up on this strange observation. One of my favorite quotes is Isaac Asimov, and who said something like, the thing that heralds scientific discovery is not necessarily eureka. Sometimes it's, that's funny. And my entire career actually has mostly been about finding things by accident. This is one of many things where I've been, trying to do one thing and then found something else in the process that turned out to be more interesting than what I was originally looking for. So,
I once asked my PhD advisor how he was so successful, and his answer was similarly, completely by accident, he says.
Yeah, I often give a talk about serendipity and the role in scientific discovery, and it's a great thing, and I encourage people to keep an open mind and to follow up something that is interesting, but also it's a balance. You don't want to follow up every single thing that doesn't work out how you planned in science, or you wouldn't get very far. But it's also something that you can't really do deliberately to go around making your career on serendipity. It just happens that way, right?
So you have found that this same aptamer addresses COVID-19?
That's right. So that wasn't necessarily an accident. So that was more thinking about how it works and realizing that the protein that it binds to, which is nucleoline, is involved not only in cancer, but also in the biology of a lot of different viruses. So, of course, nobody knew anything about its role in SARS-CoV-2, the new coronavirus, but people had looked at many other different viruses, and what they found is in, all different types of viruses, nucleoline often plays a role. And sometimes they didn't necessarily know what the role is. Sometimes they found that nucleolin is involved in the entry of a virus into the cell. Sometimes it's to do with the transport within the cell, and other times they find basically that blocking nucleolin was able to block viral replication or infectivity. And so I had this idea that perhaps this aptamer will be useful against a new coronavirus. And I guess in one example of a little bit of serendipity, I happened to work closely with Kenneth Palmer, who is a colleague of mine who studies coronaviruses. And so he is one of the few people who at that time had the capabilities to do these studies. So this was right back in February, right when this all started. And I think, like a lot of people in science, as soon as we realized we were facing this virus that was looking to, like, it could be turning into a pandemic, and unfortunately did, started thinking about, what can we do? As scientists, whenever we come across a problem, we want to try and solve it. And so I was able to kind of start very early and get with my collaborator Kenneth Palmer to test this in March, and fortunately found out that it was very active against the virus in cells.
Based on what you say, then the ramifications are beyond the coronavirus. It may have implications in addressing many viruses.
There's potential for that, yeah. And other, my work is focused on cancer, but other people have studied this aptamer for uses in other types of viruses. It's never been studied in humans, to my knowledge, as an antiviral. We're hoping to change that soon. But the one thing that makes it exciting for us is the fact that, because of the work that we've done in cancer in human clinical trials, we have a very strong feeling that this will be a safe drug. In the clinical trials that have been done in over 100 patients with cancer, there have been no reported serious toxicities that are due to the drug. And so we're optimistic that it will be something that can be used safely and that can be moved faster than, for example, a brand new drug, because it's, there's a good reason to believe that it will be safe.
So in the news, according to the news, you've partnered with a company to take this medicine to market. Where is it in the process, both in addressing cancer and in addressing COVID-19?
So the studies with the aptamer itself in cancer were done in the past, and we saw some, again, evidence of good safety, some evidence of activity also, but for various reasons, the company developing it at that time was not able to kind of complete those studies, so it was kind of in limbo for a little while. Right now, we are working with this company, Qualigen, that's based in California, and they are aggressively pursuing this, the aptamer itself and COVID-19, and we have a new formulation, a nanoparticle formulation of the aptamer that we expect to be very active in cancer, and so we're pursuing that also in cancers, different types of cancers. So the process right now is we're working towards getting FDA authorization to begin human clinical trials, and we're hoping, best case scenario for the COVID-19, that will happen, that those will begin this year.
That feels frustrating. The COVID-19 is here now.
Right. And what you have to remember is these things are happening much faster than they usually happen. Usually we'd be talking years instead of months to go from kind of discovering a new treatment to testing it in humans. And already we've got several treatments that have been shown to be safe and somewhat effective against COVID-19. But yeah, it's a little frustrating, but safety is above all else, so we have to be careful.
Many people, especially young people, talk about making an impact. This is the desire of their life. They'd like to make an impact. You are making as meaningful an impact as anybody on earth. What advice would you give to somebody who claims they want to make an impact?
I don't know what to say to that. Thank you for saying that. I don't feel like I've managed to make quite the impact I'd like to make just yet, but I'm trying. I think all scientists, most scientists, go into this because they want to do something useful and help people. the other thing that I'm heavily involved in is kind of promoting a translational mindset in science. You know, we all know we have to publish papers and get grant applications funded. And of course, those are the things that make it happen. But at the end of the day, I always, you know, stress to people, keep in mind that what we're trying to do is find new treatments or new devices or new tests or, you know, new ways of doing things better. Think about innovation. And so, you know, anytime you find something interesting, think, you know, not only is it interesting and fulfilling to know that, and, you know, how can I turn this new knowledge into something that will benefit patients? And I think just having that different kind of mindset, you don't have to know all the details of how to do it, but just having some kind of background knowledge of how knowledge gets turned into something tangible is a good place to start. But, you know, I think everybody makes an impact in one way or another. It's different types of impact, whether it's mentoring or teaching or doing research.
What are you working on now?
The aptamer is taking up a lot of my time. I think, like a lot of people, I've become both a cancer researcher now and a COVID-19 researcher. So I've been working with some colleagues to write new grant proposals to do more COVID-19 research. I think, you know, I think the silver line, there will be silver linings. There already have been some silver linings in that the pandemic has caused people to work together more closely, share their data and results and techniques more freely. We've learned that we can do amazing things when we work together. I mean, no one could have imagined that we would have gone from, you know, having a brand new virus that no one had ever seen before to having, you know, tests and to diagnose it within a matter of weeks, having the sequence, having the structure, having, you know, candidate drugs. All this has happened so fast and really just shows the power of science and the power of collaboration when we all kind of pull together with this common goal of defeating COVID-19. You know, amazing things can happen. And even though it seems like it's taken a really long time, hopefully we'll have a resolution. I think we'll be researching COVID for many years to come. It's becoming clearer that, you know, there are going to be a lot of after effects. And so I think, and it's clear that we need to prepare better so that this doesn't happen again. So I think there'll be a lot of, you know, there's been a lot of hardships and tragedy caused, but I think there'll be some good things that come out of it in the end.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I don't think so.
Thank you so much for your time today. My wife's nephew just got accepted to the University of Louisville.
Oh, congratulations.
We were very pleased before we learned of your work, and now we're bloody thrilled.
That's great. That's great. What is he doing? What will he study?
I'm not sure he knows yet.
Okay.
But I'm certainly going to encourage him to find you.
Yeah, tell him we have you know, we're very good at having lots of opportunities for undergraduate research. It's one of the things we focus on trying to at least when in normal times. We have a lot of programs. We have like an R25 program that lets undergrads come and do cancer research for the summer. So
neat.
Encourage him to look us up if he's interested in science or engineering. So.
Dr. Bates, it was thrilling to speak with you.
All right. Nice to talk to you.